Bonjour année 10. Hello year 10 and welcome to our next lesson from mardi le 2 mars. It's going to be on le passé composé, the past tense, or the perfect tense as it's sometimes referred to, this time using the verb etre. Our main objectives for this double this morning is to revise how we form the perfect tense with the verb avoir, that's what we saw last week, and then to understand how and why we use the perfect tense using etre. So, to begin, if you click on this link right here, or if you are on the French Moodle page, you will click on the interactive content which is labelled avoir in the present tense. On this game or activity, you will need to fill in the missing parts of the present tense of the verb avoir. A reminder that avoir means to have. We use this to help us form the past tense, which is the basis of last lesson. So we're looking for, can you remember, avoir in the present tense. After that, you have the past participle identifier. Now that sounds more difficult than it actually is, but basically you've got a block of text, and you've got it's all in the past tense. I want you to click on the correct version of the past participle, past tense. So which of the three words in the options is the right form of the past tense? There are three options, of course. The infinitive of the verb is given to you in brackets, and please be aware that there are two irregulars in here to throw you off. Alright, so once you've done that, it's into the past tense then with the verb etre. Now you have two ways of forming the past tense in French. I didn't tell you that last lesson because it would have been too much in one go. 98 to 99% of the verbs in the French language use avoir and the past participle like we saw last week. Right, so that's great, brilliant. But it's the 2% that we're worried about. A few verbs, about 14 to 16 of them, they use etre instead of avoir. So that's what we have to deal with today. So, the verbs that take etre, for the time being, just remember one thing. Mrs Vandertramp. This is an acronym, which means that every single letter there stands for something. And lo and behold, the letters stand for the first letter of the list of verbs which use etre. So Mrs Vandertramp. If you can remember this, it might help you to remember what those verbs are. So, in your books, little books if you've got them, but no worries if not. Mrs Vandertramp. So for Mrs, we've got the verbs monter, rester, sortir. And they mean to go up, to stay, to go out. With Van, we've got venir, arriver, naître. In English, to come, to arrive, to be born. Alright. De. Descendre, entrer, retourner. Fairly straightforward, these three. To go down or to descend, to enter and to return. Tramp. Tomber, rentrer, aller, mourir and partir. We've got tomber to fall, rentrer to re-enter, aller to go, mourir to die, and partir to leave. Alright, all of those make up Mrs Vandertramp. Have those somewhere. We need to know them. We need to remember what they mean. There's a few ways you can do that. If you click on the link right here where it says Dr. Mrs Vandertramp with Shrek, things are about to get a little bit weird. In this clip, an American teacher of French has made a song to teach you the Mrs Vandertramp verbs. It also includes the verbs devenir, which is to guess, and to revenir, to come back. Now these are not needed at GCSE level, but it's in there anyway. And it's set to the tune of Hey Now, You're an All-Star, Get Your Game On, which is the Shrek theme tune, I'm led to believe. Hopefully the cringe element of this song and me just singing it will make it stick in your head. Now there's a challenge here. Which of the verbs from Mrs Vandertramp has this teacher actually forgotten in the lyrics? Let me know in the teams if you've got it. Right, the other thing that people use to remember the verbs which are involved in Mrs Vandertramp is an image, and it's called la maison d'etre, which is a play on words. In English we use something called a raison d'etre, which is someone's reason for living, but la maison d'etre is here. Clearly been knocked together in paint, but this image is used a lot by learners of French to visualise the fact that each of the verbs in Mrs Vandertramp, they either represent movement or change of state. For example, to be born, to die, in some way. So as you can see, look, change of state, to be born, change of state, to die, movement, going up, going down, movement or not, staying, returning, going, etc. This appeals to different people, okay? Some people will prefer the ridiculousness of the song, others will prefer the visual element. It's completely up to you. Either way, we need to know what they are, right? The Mrs Vandertramp verbs, what are they? Why are they so important? Well, because they use the word etre in the past tense instead of avoir, which means they are unique. So, you've actually been using one of these since year 7 without realising, and I'll explain that to you in a second. What you see in front of you, this table, you'll need a copy of in your book. It's the verb être in the present tense. Je suis, tu es, il ou elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils ou elles sont. So, in the first task that you did today, the gap filling of avoir, this is je suis. This is tu es. This is the etre verb, to be. So you use this, not j'ai, tu as, il a, so on. It's this, plus your past tense. Now what you see in this white box are the past participles, the past tenses of the verbs in Mrs Vandertramp. They're all regular, right? They all follow the same rules, except for mourir, which becomes mort. Why? Who knows? So, je suis monté, for example, literally would translate as I went up. Doesn't make any sense. I went up. Je suis, tombé. I fell. I am fallen, if you like. Je suis retourné. I am returned. Je suis né. I am born. I was born. Now the one you've all been using since year 7 is aller. Je suis allé, meaning I went. So you've been doing that without realising. You do get credit for using the Mrs Vandertramp verb in your speaking or writing. One of the easiest ones, obviously, is je suis allé, because we all know it. It's worth remembering as well that how often you're going to have to say, oh, I was born, I died. It's not going to happen, right? So there's only going to be one or two of these that you're really going to use at any one time. But the point is, if this is going to come up, it's going to be in translation. So be aware. Always be aware. Right, you might have noticed there's an E in brackets. So, ladies, this is for you. With the verb être, you have to add an extra E at the end of the past tense to make it feminine. So, je suis arrivé. I arrived. If I'm a girl, and I'm writing about that, I arrived in town, I have to put an E on the end. It's just one of those grammar rules, right, that French goes with. I was born. I'm a girl. I've added an E. You don't do this when you're using j'ai in the past tense. It doesn't happen. Why does it happen here? I don't know. It's just French being weird. Je suis venu. I came from Italy. Whatever. Je suis mort. I died. Okay. Be aware of that. Boys. This doesn't mean that you can forget about it all. It works for you when you talk about female people. Ma mère est descendue. I'm adding an E here because I'm talking about my mother, who's a female, even though I'm a boy. Doesn't matter. She left. Adding an E because I'm talking about she, who is a female, even though I'm a boy. My mother fell. I've added an E because, my sister fell. I'm adding an E because my sister's a girl, she's female, even though I'm a boy. And so on. It'll come with practice. Girls and boys, this little rule is going to apply to all of you. When you have plural people, multiple people, you need to put an S on the end of your past participle. And if the person is feminine and plural, so a group of girls perhaps, then guess what? You add an S and an E. For example, ils sont rentrés. I've added an S because it's they. Mes sœurs sont arrivées. I've added an E because I'm talking about sisters, girls. I've added an S because it's plural. And those S's, look, they match up. S, 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 etc. So a lot to take in, lots of notes for you to make. When you're ready to go, your first task is here. You can click on this link if you want, or you'll find it on the same place where you got this video. It's a it's a Word file, and it's called Colour Match. What I need you to do here is to match up or colour or shade the French with the English translation. So for example, if I put je suis arrivé in red, I then need to find the English of what that means and put that in red as well. The answer sheet is on Moodle also. After that, back on Moodle, it's avoir ou etre. You can click on this link or you will find it on the Moodle page. For all of the verbs you see here, 1 to 15, click on either avoir or etre and according to which one they use for form in the past tense. So look at your verb monter, perdre, entendre, etc. If you were going to put those in the past tense, would you use avoir or would you use etre? Based on what we've learned today. You need to get 15 out of 15 to pass. And that is the end of that. If there are any questions, I am online during our double, of course, to take any questions, anything at all. Don't be shy. Merci beaucoup.